All right, let's take a look at Unit 7, Lesson 3, Randomness in Groups. So it's important to have a random selection when you're taking a sample because that way there's less bias, or hopefully no bias, involved in the sample. So that way you're getting fairly accurate data. Okay, so a reporter wants to know how people feel about the governor of her state. She decides to ask 100 people their opinions and thinks of several ways to ask the 100 people. For each method, explain the benefits and drawbacks. Then choose the method for selecting 100 people that would best represent the people of the state. That's what we're looking for, right? Not necessarily the easiest, but the best representation of the state. All right, so number 1, go to the capital city and find 100 people interested in politics to respond to the survey. Okay, so some benefits. The people that are living in the city or who are in the city and interested in politics might be more informed and interested in the study or the questions or politics. It also might be fairly easy to collect that data because it would be fairly easy to find people. However, their opinions might be too similar to one another. So you might not be getting a very good representation. Typically, in a state, like-minded people might live in the same areas. And so if you are looking in just one area, you're not getting the diversity from across the state. All right, so number 2, ask the 100 most politically influential people in the state to respond to a survey. Well, if they are very politically influential, they might have strong opinions, right? And that could be bad for trying to get your finger on the pulse of the entire state. And so they're not necessarily representative of the whole state. Again, that one might be a fairly easy one to do if they actually respond. And if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to write the blue in, some of the benefits, and the pink is the drawbacks. Number 3, obtain census data for the state and select 100 people from the list to survey using a random process. So this one is good because it's random and everyone is included, right? Every person in the state has an equal opportunity of being selected. So that helps in making it random. If not everybody has the opportunity to be selected, then it's not truly random. It might be challenging to get the surveys back. But it should be fairly representative of the state because you're getting a variety of people's opinions. You might also miss some specific groups. Or some minorities with strong opinions, but everybody did have an equal chance of being selected. And then number 4, ask 50 registered voters who voted for the governor and 50 registered voters who did not vote for the governor to respond to the survey. Well, first of all, it does force opposing views. So you're at least not getting all the same opinion. But it doesn't include anybody who's not registered. So that's not necessarily representative of the whole state. And then also, it could be that maybe the governor won by a landslide. And so if you're getting 50% of people who voted for him or her and 50% who didn't, then it might be unevenly balanced one way or the other. So it may not be representative of the entire population. So in this case, which one is the best one? And I would say that number 3 is the best one because it is random. Everyone has the opportunity to be selected. And so it would be the least polarizing. All right, let's take a look at the next part. Hiphop Memory, a research group interested in comparing the effect of different types of music on short-term memory, gathers 200 volunteers for a study. One group will listen to a hip-hop music playlist while trying to memorize a list of 20 words. A second group will listen to a playlist of orchestral music while trying to memorize the list of 20 words. After a break, the number of words recalled correctly by each individual is measured, and the results for the two groups are compared. Is this an experimental study or an observational study? This is definitely an experiment because you are taking the two groups and separating them. Well, you're taking the group of people and separating them into two, and you have a control group. Well, not really control, but you have two different groups that are doing two different things. So you are changing behaviors in order to see the outcome. Let's see. Which group do you hypothesize will recall more words? Explain your reasoning. I would say probably the orchestral, personally. And without doing the experiment, we would really not know. But I would say orchestral because there are no words. And so the person could really focus on the words that they're trying to memorize and not be distracted by the words in the music. So, but as long as you can explain your reasoning and it makes sense, there is no wrong answer or right answer. Just make sure you explain your reasoning. And number 3, here are some options for splitting the volunteers into groups. Which method will best address the intention of the study? Explain your reasoning. So the first one is to divide the groups based on their preferred music style. Divide the groups based on their age. The youngest 100 listen to hip hop and the older listen to the orchestral music. Divide the groups based on the order in which they came in to do the study. The first 100 will listen to hip hop music and the next will listen to the orchestral. Write down all the volunteer names on slips of paper, put them in a jar, shake it, then draw out 100 slips. They'll listen to the hip hop and the rest will listen to orchestral music. So the only one that's really random is the last one. The first one definitely isn't random because you're basing it on what they prefer. And so they might, that can skew the data. B is kind of similar. The age might have something to do with their memory too. So you're really not getting a good idea as to whether it's the music or their age that actually is helping or hurting the memory. C, you might have groups of people that come in together and they might prefer one thing or another, or they might be aged similarly. And so there's some bias there. But in D, everybody has a chance of being in either group because you are randomly selecting those names. All right, and then let's take a look at 3.3 random rectangles. So a company offers solar power systems made up of 1 square meter cells arranged in rectangles. They use the designs for their first 100 customers to list the ways people arrange the cells. They are interested in investigating this question. What is the mean area of the rectangles created by our customers? All right, so we're going to collect a sample of 5 rectangles using the methods here. Look quickly at the chart and select 5 rectangles by their numbers. Record the numbers of the rectangles you choose. So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. So the numbers of the rectangles you choose. So I did 73, 66, 48, 34, and 27. All right, select a number between 1 and 95, use that number, and the next 4 numbers for another sample of 5 rectangles. For example, if you select 8, then you would select 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm going to I'll pick 32. So 32, then I'm going to do 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Oops. Oh, wait, not 37, because I only need 5. Okay. Look closer at the rectangles and choose your 5 favorite. How do you pick favorite rectangles? I really don't know. I'm going to go with 97, 77. 97, 77. I don't know, 26. 26. 58. And we'll say 90. No. Oh, I did pick 77. 90. We'll go with 90. All right, and then use a random number generator to select 5 numbers between 100 or 1 and 100. All right, so a random number generator. Let's see if we've got one in our Desmos calculator. I don't remember if we do. We'll find out. Let's see. I don't think that we do. Actually, you know what? We will try. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's not what I wanted to do. We're doing that. All right. I'm going to try just Googling. All right. Random number. All right. I need my keyboard for this, I think. Random number. There we go. We'll try this. Oh, that's not what I want. All right. Random number generator. We'll try that. Integer generator. Okay, there we go. So we want to generate 5 random integers. And they want to be between 1 and 100. Okay, so then we're going to get our numbers. All right, so we've got 98. Let me pick another color. We'll go with green. Okay. 98, 94, 34, 25, and 8. All right. So now we're going to find the mean area of the rectangles in the sample for each method. All right. So remember that the mean, we're going to break out our calculator again. The mean is what we think of as the average. So we're going to add them all up and divide by how many there are. So we're dividing by 5 every time. Okay, so for 73, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 12 rectangle or squares there. 66 has 5. 48 is a 4x4, so that's 16. 34 is a 3x4, so that's 12. And then 27 is another 3x4, so that's 12. And then we are going to take that answer and divide it by 5. So we get 11.4 for the first one. All right, the second one, we had 32, which is a 4x4, so 16. 33 is 5. 34 is 12. 35 is another 12. It's a 2x6. And then 36 is 4. And then we're dividing that by 5. Oops. Answer. Divided by 5. And that was 9.8. All right. And then we're going to do 97. 97 is a 3x6, so that's 18. 77 is another 3x6, so that's 18. 26 is 3x7, right? So that's 21. Is that right? Yeah. So 26 is a 3x7. So that's 21. We had 58 and 90. So 58 is a 3x6. So that's another 18. And then 90 is a 2x6, which is 12. And then we're going to take that answer and divide by 5, and we get 17.4. All right, and then we did our random number generator. So 98 had 4. 94 has, it's a 4x4, so 16. 34 has 12, because it's a 3x4. 25 has 5, and 8 has 1. And then we're going to divide that answer by 5, and we get 7.6. So we got very different answers for all 4. Which method do you think is the best for estimating the mean area for the entire population? The random number generator is probably the best because the other ones are influenced. The other ones are influenced by something, whether it's you just looking at it, and that's got bias there, picking your favorites, or trying to pick one number and then going consecutive. Those all have some kind of outside influence by your choices. So the random number generator is the best one because it does not have bias included in there, because we're not making any choices. All right. All right, and then you can take a look at the lesson summary if you want. We just want to make sure that our sample is representative of the whole population. So that's why we want to randomize our selections for our samples. And so you can look at some examples of non-random, where you're assigning certain groups, but then you can look at some that are more random, because everybody has an opportunity to be selected.